app Bumble wants to take the sting out of online dating with a new ad that sells sex with celibacy.
We're still texting then, but I'm certainly not your friend. I don't know where this began, but I know where it ends. What could you possibly be getting by asking how hard it has been and forwarding things that you've seen? And I can see it now. I see what it was all about, and it ain't me.
Oh, I love that slogan. We've changed, so you don't have to. The secret to a successful relationship, refusing to change. I'd have gone with Bumble. You're getting none. Jasmine, is this a good match?
Oh, I don't even know where to begin. I would say swipe left immediately. I got the ick, Gen Z language. There is so much wrong with this that we could probably do an entire episode about it. They copped a lot of backlash, and rightly so. It will be really interesting to see how this develops from a PR perspective for them, because as a brand, the first rule is you got to stay true to your brand values, and that means that your messaging also needs to be on brand. This is so off-brand for a dating app that was launched a decade ago to be the female empowerment dating app. Basically, it was launched to empower women to make the first move. That was the differentiator between Bumble and Tinder back in the day. So now they belong all to the same company at the top now. And they figured out that they were losing women en masse, you know. Voluntary celibacy is a real thing now. It has, I think that segment has grown significantly over the last decade. And women are fed up, so they knew this and decided that celibacy or a dating app were possibly the only choices women could have, right? So that is so tone deaf that I really doubt that there was a woman currently on dating apps actually involved in the inception of this ad. That's the second rule, basically, that they broke, right? You know, you don't involve your customers and you don't listen to them. Shocking.
I mean, all the dating apps are declining. So that in itself is quite interesting. So, you know, what's happening in the world that is making the dating apps decline, then they have to, they're going to explore why.
Right.
They've discovered why. So why isn't that in the advertising?
Well, so they don't tell you what has changed, because I also think they took the research, so they did the research and they discovered that 46% of women wanted a change in UX or user experience.
Yeah.
That's not the majority, for starters, right? And also, there was plenty of other facts in the research that maybe weren't as convenient. So they had a terrible dating experience. They were saying, your algorithm doesn't work. You serve me all these guys and are not relevant to me. So if you really wanted to listen to your customer, you would come up with an invention that is on brand for you, but not take your only USP away. Because now that app is just like the other apps, right? And consumers looked right through that.
Well, especially as you say, if it's owned by, is it called Match?
Yeah,
so
they own all the dating apps.
So they own all the dating apps, so why would
So hang on, so I wasn't aware of this. So like, it's basically like glasses and everything now, where there's just one big company that owns every brand, and then they just pit them all against each other, but they're all under the one umbrella.
Yeah, so it is surprising if it is all under the one umbrella. Why wouldn't you have the one app who started Bumble, who started as, you know, the woman's in charge? Why wouldn't you continue that proposition?
Because subscriptions. This is unfortunately, it feels like another sort of moment where a big tech company dropped the veil and kind of, you know, let us look behind the curtains, because they need you to stay on the apps so they can sell you a subscription. And so they need to have different brands to kind of move you around. It didn't work over here, maybe try Tinder, or now you go back to Hinge. That's the business model, basically. But in this case, the ad also doesn't make any sense. The ad, you know, why does the nun hand her a phone? You know, the judgy nun.
Right. If she's tempted by the gardener, she could just go and have sex with the gardener.
Yeah, why does she give him the phone number?
I mean, he's right
just
there.
Give her the
There's
number.
a lot of other women there, but they're not interested, so he's right there. He's already got his shirt off.
I mean, I wasn't as invested in the conceit of the storyline, to be fair. I think we can agree the strategy is super problematic for a business that was founded, like, on this feminist premise. This, like, direction is kind of founded in cynicism. And I think if you are running a dating app, you should actually be optimistic about love, there is a negativity to it. And for me, speaking of the other apps, I don't know if anyone's seen the latest Tinder campaign. It starts with a swipe.
Yeah.
For me, that actually feels like, as a dating app, the way that you would go to market, because it's all centred around love stories. Like, if you are trying to match people up, you actually have to be in love with love as a brand, and their campaign, their latest campaign, is just like a little series of love stories, and they're much more contemporary as well. So they're super attuned to how people are dating now. So it's they're really diverse mix of stories, but at its heart, it's super optimistic.
Do you think dating apps are just going to be a moment in time? Is it just a moment? Yeah. So obviously they are declining.
Yeah.
So they're working on how to make them not decline. They're advertising, the Tinder advertising, the new user experience. But I wonder whether in 10 years' time it'll be, oh, that was when dating apps existed, because we do know that there is, let's call it an analog trend. Yeah, we know that there's a slowdown trend. So Guinness, for example, the sales of Guinness are going through the roof. Why? Because I can just slow down and have a Guinness. Like, the proposition itself is about slowing down.
And if you have enough Guinness, that's a pretty good way to meet someone.
Exactly. And so maybe it's back to old-fashioned ways of meeting people. Or maybe, who knows, maybe the office might become a social place again. Right?
Let's get back to people having sex in the office.
Exactly.
Good old days.
Well, I wonder, though. I do feel for younger people in that the office, because there is this thing called a dating app, it means that the office space isn't as social as it used to be. That used to be where you might meet your partner there. Exactly. Right? So now, in the absence of that, because of the technology, so what I'm wondering if this technology has just been a moment in time. And as we... Well, dumb phones have doubled in sales, right? It just in the last 12 months, more and more people are just buying a phone that's phone and the text and blah. Yeah. So there is something going on.
I do buy that there probably is some sort of resurgence in terms of more analogue forms of connecting and dating with people, and there's this massive sort of pro-celibacy movement. Like you said, it was, it's increased, tenfold over the last year. It's all aspirational and about self-care and pushes up against that notches on the belt culture. But there's something about this spot that throws me in that, like, I'm happy to go back to the future, but this feels like it's taking a page out of, Maria and Sound of Music,
or Handmaid's Tale.
The costumes was tonally, it was a little bit Barbie meets Handmaid's Tale, which left me utterly
By the way, that's a good idea for a movie. Make $1 billion. Like, if the Barbie sequel is like a Handmaid's Tale, and like all the Kens have taken over the world, and all the Barbies are in their veils, and you can't tell. We've got to cut that out and send that to Hollywood. Get me Margot Robbie's number. That's just for a private thing, but...
Running groups are in. Have you seen?
Running groups are in.
Yeah. So have you noticed this trend, Will? So when you go for your walk in the mornings or in the evenings, you'll see lots of running groups. Right. Right. And this, of course, is as opposed to the. I suppose they're probably connecting via Hinge, aren't they?
No, it's Strava.
It's Java. Strava.
Strava.
Okay, so
Strava, the running app, has become the new dating app. Is that what you're saying?
But it's running in groups, right?
Yeah.
So it's like nothing.
It's a polyamorous situation.
But it's the creation of a group, and then one thing leads to another.
Or you can just
that's glorious. It's a little more organic.
Yes. What an awful idea. Literally cannot think of any worse way to meet someone than when you're already red and hot and sweaty and grunt. Like, all right.